Well, good afternoon. Thank you for getting seated. I really appreciate it. Please continue your meal, and our servers are being great and respectful of noise, so they'll continue to serve and do everything they need to do to make you comfortable and happy. I want to welcome you to our 148th annual meeting. Sometimes I feel like we've all been at all 148, but this is going to be the best one ever. So if you've had one before or been one before, just look forward to this one. I am really proud of what our leadership is going to be talking to you about today, both what we've done and what we're going to do. It's been a really, really good few years, so I hope you enjoyed as much as I do. I want to introduce the head table, and I'm going to start from my far side. That's Paul Newton, and he's the North Carolina president for Duke Energy, and Ricky Godwin, who's our immediate past chair for the chamber and is also the tax partner for McGladrey, and Lynn Good, our keynote speaker. You'll hear more from her and about her. She's the president and CEO of Duke Energy. Chris Boney, our 2015 chair, and also the head guy for LS3P in Wilmington, and his wonderful wife, Sutton Boney, Chris's wife. So she's the one that keeps him going in the right direction. And then I'm going to embarrass a couple people. Sitting in the audience with the McGladrey team is Cindy Godwin, Ricky's wife. She didn't want to sit up here, but Cindy, here's a shout out to you. And you'll hear more about Henry and May Boney, but that's Chris's and Sutton's kids. And they have two of their three here, and we're thrilled to have so much of the family. And our sponsors. You know we couldn't do this without incredible sponsors, and many of you are. I was going to ask you to stand up when I call your company name, but you all would have to be standing up, so just relax and keep a seat. Duke Energy, our presenting sponsor. John Elliott, you're always wonderful to the chamber. Thank you very much. Thank you, Duke Energy. And our platinum sponsor, John Lyon at AT&T, who always supports our annual meeting, and John, we really appreciate that so much. Our gold sponsors are BB&T, Brady Energy Services, Corning, GE Hitachi, LS3P, McGladrey, New Hanover Regional Medical Center, the North Carolina State Ports, Piedmont Natural Gas, PPD, UNCW, Wells Fargo, Williford Houston, and Wilmington International Airport, or as we know them, ILM. Our silver sponsors are Andrew Consulting Engineers, Cape Fear Community College, First Citizens Bank, McGuire Woods LLP, Murkison, Taylor, and Gibson PLLC, Newbridge Bank, Newland Communities, Pathfinder Wealth Consulting, and our bronze sponsors, Delaney Radiologists, First Bank, and Star News Media. I thank y'all so much for what you allow the chamber to do, so I'm going to give you a hand. I'm really happy to introduce a man who spent more time at the chamber and did more work for the chamber last year than he ever thought possible. I mentioned he was a tax partner at McGladrey, and his term started January 1st, 2014. So guess what he was doing from January 1 till April 15th, in addition to working at the chamber. So he was a little busy. He gets through that, and then, luckily, after tax season, he tears his Achilles. He had surgery, but he really didn't lie back and recuperate. Between his wife, and that's why I mentioned Cindy, because bless her heart, he had her up at all hours chauffeuring him around. So between his wife, between a driver that he had some control over, and this little scooter that he rode around like he was Dale Earnhardt, and it was a race car, he missed very few things at the chamber. So we really did appreciate Ricky staying with us in a tough year for him. I will say that it was noted in, as we got closer to December 31st, that Ricky was smiling a lot more brightly than he had been. So I know he's proud to have one less job when tax season, well, I guess tax season's already started. So Ricky, the staff and I are honored to work with you. We appreciate your leadership. Thank you so much. And here's Ricky.
The scooter was far less glamorous than Connie made it out to be. So, thank you, Connie, and thanks again to all of our sponsors and to all of you who are joining us today. If you attended last year's conference, you'll remember we experienced some adversity when severe thunderstorms prevented our scheduled keynote speaker, United States Secretary of Transportation Anthony Foxx, from attending. Fortunately for us, North Carolina State's Secretary of Transportation Tony Tata was here to fill in for Anthony. Our meeting is off to a much better start this year because Lynn is already here, which we appreciate that very much. Each year, the Chamber formulates a public policy agenda that includes items identified as most important to our area's economic health and the growing prosperity in our region. The items are determined through a survey of Chamber members and the work of a public policy committee. The 2014 agenda included items such as implementation of the Garner Report, bolstering film incentives, and development of an economic scorecard. Many of these issues will continue to be focus areas in 2015, and Chris will review those in more depth. I'd like to take a moment to review some of the developments that occurred during my tenure in 2014. The foremost economic development initiative of 2014 was the Garner Report, which was presented to Wilmington City Council and New Hanover County Commissioners this past year. The report, entitled Pathways to Prosperity, was commissioned by New Hanover County and outlined suggested actions to increase economic development in our region. The report included 21 proposals. Those have been narrowed to 6 focus areas to start, and the wording there is very important and to start. Chamber representatives met with the city and county leaders to express our desire that none of the 21 suggested action items outlined in the report should be dismissed without a full vetting process of those suggestions. Both the city and county have expressed support for studying the full slate of suggestions, and we are pleased with the progress thus far on the first 6 focus areas. We will continue to work with them to assist in implementation of those areas. I'm very pleased to tell you the Chamber embarked on development of a new economic development tool in 2014. This tool will be an economic scorecard that will provide information to help elected officials and area business leaders make decisions concerning factors that affect Wilmington's economic health. The Chamber's flagship initiative, Cape Fear Futures, will fund development of the scorecard in 2015. This will not be a marketing piece. The scorecard will benchmark our region against other peer regions using hard data. It will be an honest assessment of where we excel and where we have challenges that need to be addressed. Chamber staff and members and board members studied scorecards from several cities. One produced annually by Charleston, South Carolina, will serve as a model for our publication, although some of the metrics we use will likely be different than those used in Charleston. We've been holding stakeholder meetings to determine the metrics that will be most useful for year-to-year comparisons in the scorecard. Release of the scorecard will occur in October and November of 2015. I'd like to thank 2013 Chamber Chair Hal Kitchen in particular for his work on this project. While on the subject of comparing ourselves to peer regions, I'm reminded of the situation we are faced with on the coast in regards to insurance. We have a special guest here today who is an expert in the insurance industry, NC Insurance Commissioner Wayne Goodwin. In 2014, Commissioner Goodwin conducted a thorough hearing into the requested insurance rate increase. After completing his review, he determined that the increase was not justified in our area. Actually, it determined that some decreases were going to be coming forward. Thank you, Commissioner Goodwin, for your equitable handling of that review. Let's give Commissioner Goodwin an applause. Also, in 2014, the General Assembly allowed the current film incentive program to expire and replace it with a much less effective grant program. As a film community, we know that how important this industry is to local business that provides products and services to movie and TV productions and to those who are employed in the industry. The Chamber worked with the Regional Film Commission and elected officials to show the General Assembly the economic impact that the film industry has on our area. So they understood the importance of the incentive program to our area. In the last 3 years, production spent more than $400 million in our region. Losing this economic impact and many of the 1,700 film industry jobs will be a severe blow to our economy. Unfortunately, the repercussions are already being felt, with far fewer productions showing interest in the area. In the last couple of weeks, it was announced that if renewed, the Fox television series, Sleepy Hollow, will move to Atlanta. The series has been filmed in Wilmington since its very inception. The reason cited for the show leaving was the expiration of the film incentives. This is the type of news we feared when the change was made, so we will continue to work for an improved incentive program. Another area, industrial zoning ordinances, also continues to be an issue of debate. County commissioners deadlocked in a 2-2 vote on whether to make changes to the language in the special use permit. The Chamber had proposed changes, that would add a timeline to the process and clear up uncertainty surrounding what businesses will or will not need a permit. We will continue to work for clarity and objectivity in the process so that the special use permit is not a hindrance to our area attracting good businesses. The Chamber also followed closely the redevelopment of the Water Street parking deck. The Chamber provided input to the Downtown Finance Initiative as they conducted their study to determine the best use and the return on investment of the property. I'd like to congratulate the city on moving forward and narrowing the development proposals. We look forward to a great public-private partnership that enhances our downtown by expanding retail and housing options and provides additional parking. Education has and will remain a priority issue for the Chamber. We are pleased that the New Hanover County residents supported the education bond by a strong margin. The Chamber endorsed the bond, and we provided education to members on why school improvements are important. Our schools are already 3,500 students over capacity, and we expect that to grow. Funds from the bond will be used to build additional schools, renovate existing facilities, improve safety and security, and upgrade technology. This will provide a better learning environment and will aid in retaining and recruiting new businesses to the area. Providing science, technology, engineering, and math, or better known as STEM, education has become increasingly important. The Chamber's flagship initiative, Cape Fear Future, started the project Lead the Way for sixth graders at Trask Middle School during the 2013-14 school year. Cape Fear Future extended the funding for the 2015-16 year also, allowing the original sixth grade class to continue coursework through the eighth grade. The program has been so well received that the school system expanded Project Lead the Way to DC Virgo this year. The program introduces students to engineering, robotics, computer modeling, and energy. The Chamber Foundation also continued their work in education with 3 initiatives. The laptop donation program provided 50 gently used laptops to students. The second annual Walk in My Shoes event allowed area business leaders to visit local schools and take a first-hand look at the realities in our educational system. And 3, our Leadership Wilmington program, which graduated another class of 30 and organized Work on Wilmington with over 900 volunteers completing 26 projects at area schools and nonprofits. Leadership Wilmington remains one of our most influential programs. Applications for the 2016 class will be accepted in June if you're interested in participating. Partnerships are the lifeblood of the Chamber, and we were fortunate this past year to enter into one with mobile app developer Appy City to help create the official mobile app network for Wilmington. The Chamber, the Wilmington and Beaches Convention and Visitors Bureau, and the City of Wilmington became the lead organizations in the effort and has grown to include nearly every major attraction and school in New Hanover County, more than 50 in all. Some of those participating include Airlie Gardens, the Cameron Art Museum, the Battleship North Carolina, Cape Fear Museum, Thalian Hall, and many more. Each of the organizations will have a mobile app designed by Appy City and will be a part of the network that links all the apps together through the city through a City Life button that appears on each of your apps. All the apps are free for download for the App Store for iPhone and Android devices. If you're not already downloaded the Chamber app, we recommend that you do so. As a free member benefit, every Chamber member receives a basic listing in the app, which will appear under the City Life button on each app. The Chamber has a small staff, so forging partnerships with our area businesses makes us stronger. In 2014, we relaunched our Ambassador Program. The Ambassador Program currently has 18 volunteers serving. Ambassadors visit Chamber members throughout the year, delivering surveys, information about Chamber initiatives, and updating member contact information. Ambassadors also attend ribbon cuttings, Chamber events, helping with registration, and serving as greeters. If you are serving on that committee this year, please stand up and be recognized at this time. We have placed a year in review summary at your table, which provides additional detail on these and many other Chamber events and services that your Chamber provides for you. Finally, I would like to thank my fellow board members for their support and dedication. Finding time to serve the greater business community is admirable, especially when it takes so much time away from your own business. As you can tell from my previous comments, there were numerous issues this year that required their attention, and I was thankful to have their expertise and their opinions. Now it's my pleasure to introduce your 2015 Chamber Chair, Chris Boney. Chris is Vice President and the Wilmington office leader of the architecture firm LS3P and Associates. He joined LS3P in 1994 after receiving his undergraduate degree in architecture from the College of Design at NC State University. He received his Master of Architecture degree with honors from the University of Virginia in 1997. Chris is a former chairman of the Wilmington Planning Commission and assisted in the rewriting of the Central Business District zoning ordinance. He has overseen historic district growth as appointee to the Historic Preservation Committee. He has been a member of the UNCW Board of Visitors, the Wilmington's Children Museum Board, the Thayen Hall Board, and the Lower Cape Fear Hospice Endowment Board. He also serves as a member of the Executive Committee for Cape Fear Future. Chris, if you would join me. Chris, I am pleased to present this gavel to you in honor of your 2015 chairmanship of the Wilmington Chamber of Commerce. Congratulations, and thank you.
Thank you. Hang on, Ricky, don't go too far. The gavel does exist. All right. That's great. Thank you so much. And in honor of Ricky's great work as chair, the board would like to present you with this recognition, which should be right here. And it reads, presented in appreciation to Ricky Godwin for his dedication and dynamic leadership as 2014 chairman of the board, the Greater Wilmington Chamber of Commerce. Let's give Ricky a big hand. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, thank you. It is truly an honor to serve as your successor, Ricky. You did a great job last year, and I've got big shoes to fill. It's an honor to be your chairman of the Chamber Board for 2015. I've got a long script here, but I'm going to try and get off script a little bit and move it along, and everybody's anxious to hear what Lynn Good has to say. A mentor and a teacher of mine once said, you got to remember where you came from because it made you who you are. Know where you are right now because it will affect who you will become. But most importantly, you've got to know where you're going. That is everything. The past, the present, and the future. You know, we live in a place that is sometimes obsessed with the past. We talk about it a lot. We live in a beautiful historic city in Wilmington. It's not a bad thing, but we need to use that constructively and look forward, use it to look ahead. I was surprised to learn that our company, LS3P, is the oldest continuous chamber member, going back to our grandfather who started the firm in 1922 and I guess 1956 when we began paying our chamber dues finally. In 1956, Wilmington was a railroad town. It was a post-war town. We had one bridge, no interstate, and we had 1,000 Liberty ships parked in the marsh over there off Eagles Island. If any of you have seen the pictures, it's pretty phenomenal. The railroad left and ripped the heart out of the city, but our forebears fought back, brought in industries, and worked hard to bring in folks like Corning, GE, and many others, saving the town and setting the stage for the community that we all enjoy today. My grandfather and a lot of other men and women made promises to those companies, and it is up to all of us in this room to honor that commitment and bring in more industries and companies like them today. Caroline Rita and Michelle Holbrook, I know you're in here today. I want to thank you for your commitment that your companies have made over all these years. Thank you for believing in our community and for continuing to invest in Wilmington. I think we owe them a round of applause. Thank you. So flash forward to 2015. Today, I honestly believe that Wilmington is the beginning of a great renaissance. It's a great time to be in Wilmington, North Carolina. There's a palpable excitement in our community. You saw it when you rode in here today. Imagine what this site looked like in 1956. There are pictures of it on the walls out here in the lobby. Today, we have our beautiful tower at PPD, a new marina, a new hotel about to be built. Right, Mayor Safa? We're working on that. And the largest performing arts venue east of Raleigh about to open at Cape Fear Community College. We're breeding our own entrepreneurs and businesses, people like Live Oak Bank, Encino, NextGlass, and many more. And we have just announced the largest industrial recruit in 50 years with Vertex Rail Technologies. It is indeed a great time to be in southeastern North Carolina, and I couldn't be more excited about it. But what does the future hold? Well, to start with, I'm honored to have two of my children here today. Henry is 10 and May is 9. They're sitting here at our table. Their big brother Lawrence is off to a swim meet and couldn't join us. But they remind me every day that we must leave our community better for our intervention. We're building for tomorrow, not for today. What we do here today, tomorrow, and this year must be iterative and powerful and honor the legacy of our past by making Wilmington the most dynamic business community of its size in the nation. We can do this, and we will do this. We have a great deal of work to do to get us there, so I want to tell you all what your chamber is going to do next. But first, to get us there, I'm thankful that we have such a great board of directors. The unique perspective each of these brings to the table will serve the chamber and our community very well. So board members, please, as I call your name, stand up and remain standing until I call everyone's name, and please hold your applause until I'm finished calling all the names. To begin with, our officers, Mitch Lamb, our first vice chair from First Citizens Bank, Charlie Maddox, our second chair from BB&T, John Gizdick, our treasurer from New Hanover Regional Medical Center, Ricky Godwin, of course, our immediate past chair from McGladrey, and our other board members, Kim Avery from Verizon Wireless, Kim Bankston, GE Hitachi, Brian Eckel, Cape Fear Commercial, John Elliott, Duke Energy, Michelle Holbrook, Corning, Rob Kaiser from the Greater Wilmington Business Journal in Wilma, Hal Kitchen from McGuire Woods, John Lyon, AT&T North Carolina, Connie Majorette, of course, our president of the Wilmington Chamber, Carl Marshburn from Cape Fear Riverboats, Paul McCumbee from Newbridge Bank, Dixon McLean, Wilmington Business Development, Ed Murray, PPD, Will Purvis, Liberty Healthcare, Chris Reed, Thomas Construction Company, Margaret Robinson, Cape Fear Community College Foundation, Dallas Romanowski, Cornerstone Advisory Partners, Ted Shipley, Smith-Moore Leatherwood, Faison Sutton, Merkson Taylor and Gibson, Hal Wells from Wells Insurance, Jason Wheeler, Pathfinder Wealth Consulting, Alan Zimmer from Reed's Jewelers, and our ex officio board members, Rob Zappel from the New Hanover County Commissioners, Robert Rosenberg, Wilmington Downtown Incorporated, Dr. Tim Markley from New Hanover County Schools, Bruce Holston from the Pleasure Island Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Bill Cedarberg from UNCW, Hank Miller from the Wrightsville Beach Chamber of Commerce, Mayor Sappho from the City of Wilmington, Dr. Amanda Lee from Cape Fear Community College, Paul Koza from North Carolina Ports Authority, Jim Fleckner from Cape Fear Public Utility Authority, and John Parrott from Wilmington International Airport Authority. Let's thank them all for their time and commitment. That is a lot of names to read. But it's a great board and one that's ready to roll up its sleeves and get things done. One thing we did this year is we expanded the board a little bit to bring in a few new ex officio members, and so we really think that's going to help for us to bring in folks like the Ports and the Public Utility Authority that didn't have a seat previously that are going to help to move us forward. We're excited about the opportunities before us this year, so now that you know the players, here's what we're going to do to get things done. First, we're going to focus. At our strategic planning retreat last fall, we outlined 4 focus areas we're going to look at this year and concentrate on. I'll speak more to those in just a minute. Second, we're going to increase our membership. Since the great downturn in 2008, the Chamber lost a lot of members. People had to trim budgets. Some did not see the value that your Chamber of Commerce brings. But last year, we successfully reversed the decline and had a net increase in membership. This year, we will build on that momentum, show the value of your chamber, and grow to an even more effective organization. I want to thank Charlie Maddox in advance for taking on this task and leading our efforts at membership recruitment. Third, and this is where we need your help, we will grow our budget. Now is the time to take action. There are many critical issues for the business community to face this year, and we need your support. The board has decided that the old model of a campaign fundraiser is no longer viable, and instead the staff will be contacting you individually, and we hope that each of you will consider a modest increase in your level of support this year. I challenge you to help us, and in exchange, we promise to deliver. John Gizdick, our treasurer, will provide oversight for this initiative. Your chamber is debt-free and in excellent financial condition. It's a great investment. So at the strategic planning retreat held in August, the executive committee developed those 4 focus areas: crime, education, business advocacy, and the economic development plan. Crime will be a focus area because it affects job growth, inhibits our ability to attract and retain talent and businesses, and is a quality of life issue. The Garner report indicates that a low crime rate is the #1 quality of place factor that is important to companies looking to relocate. Crime also has direct and indirect costs to business and individuals, ranging from decreased property values to increased costs for businesses for security, and even a loss of tourism. So where can the Chamber have an impact? Violent crime is mostly isolated to small areas in New Hanover County. We're going to take a more active role in highlighting the low crime rates in key areas of interest to economic development. We also want to mitigate negative perceptions on crime and educate Chamber members and others on what local law enforcement is doing proactively to deter crime. Perhaps the biggest impact we can have on addressing crime is hitting it where it begins. The cycle of poverty that breeds crime can be broken, but it takes enormous effort. We will continue to participate in the Blue Ribbon Commission and support job placement programs such as Phoenix Employment Ministries and Hometown Hires. I want to pause here to recognize a couple of individuals who are currently really putting their time and money behind this. District Attorney Ben David is with us here today, and Chip Mahan, did you sneak in? I'm not sure, from Live Oak Bank. They're really helping to lead the Hometown Hires effort, and I encourage each of you to go to hometownhires.com to find out about the great work they are doing and learn how to get involved. They're already placing nearly 100 individuals with good jobs, have a commitment from Vertex Rail to place over 130 more. Gentlemen, well done, and thank you. And Mitch Lamb is heading up our crime committee, and you'll be hearing more about this topic throughout the year. Our second focus area is education, and with Foundation Chair Margaret Robinson taking the lead on. Ricky already touched on several things we'll continue to work on this year, such as Project Lead the Way. We would like to see more of these types of programs and initiatives that we can support. STEM education is a vital part of preparing students for their careers, and a greater emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and math in the schools is a goal that we will continue to work on with Dr. Markley and his staff. Our third focus area, business advocacy, is really one of the core missions of the Chamber. We will have a strong voice in all major business issues in this community, and our board and the Chamber staff have done an even better job the last few years of having a seat at the table for meetings and planning sessions for every issue of importance to the business community. I can't stress how important it is that the perspective of our business community is heard front and center. The ultimate goals are to create an environment that is conducive to business, to ensure that our children can come back here and get good jobs that are quality jobs in the area, and to protect the quality of life that we all cherish. Our advocacy efforts will likely evolve as the year progresses and new issues present themselves, but a few of the issues that we're focusing on already and dedicating energy to. One in particular Ricky talked about is a special use permit. Nothing creates jobs like industry and manufacturing, and we need jobs more than ever, and more than in just the service industry. According to site selectors, New Hanover County will not be on the radar unless we do away with the ambiguity in our current special use permit, provide a timeline, objectivity, and make it clear to all who need to apply for who will need to apply for a special use permit. This couldn't be any more important to our community, and we aim to fix this. Another area is ensuring funding for shoreline preservation, beach renourishment, and inlet and river dredging. But we don't feel the way to do this is to change the current room occupancy tax formula, as some have proposed. That could help. That could affect other things, such as the funding for the Wilmington and Beaches Tourism Bureau and the Convention Center that we're in today. It would only create more issues. Medicaid is a hot topic at the General Assembly this year. The board seriously considered this issue and decided to advocate for North Carolina to join the majority of states in expanding Medicaid for low-income residents. Whatever you may have heard about this issue, these are the facts. Right now, your tax dollars are going to other states, and we are still paying to care for the uninsured here locally. The largest employer in our county is our hospital, New Hanover Regional Medical Center. So we are especially hard hit about this issue here locally. It's something we all need to be very concerned about. Ricky already mentioned the film industry incentives that will be a big part of our advocacy efforts. Chamber staff and board members are on the phone weekly, if not daily, talking to stakeholders and attending meetings to try and find a way to expand the incentive package so the industry does not die and take 1,700 local jobs with it. Our last focus area is the Economic Development Plan, Pathway to Prosperity, or the Garner Report as it's more commonly known. Former Chairman Hal Kitchen will lead our efforts here, which will likely become a focus area for many years to come. There are some big projects and great opportunities that will challenge us as a community to take them on. We plan to stay diligent to ensure that the report's suggestions are as fully implemented as possible. Related to advocacy and business development, economic development, I want to be clear, we're working very closely with Wilmington Business Development and BASE, WDI, and other economic development organizations. We've begun regular coordination meetings with WBD, and Scott and Dixon and their entire team are on the same page with the Chamber. Thank you for that. It is simple. WBD's role is to bring businesses here. It is the role of the Chamber to create an environment that supports them and allows them to thrive. A lot is said about the number of economic development groups that exist in our community. We are working together, and we will work together to speak as one voice. As I wrap up, I want to thank my business partners, Laura, Charles, and Paul, for supporting me in this role. They're going to have to bear a little more of the burden this year. And most importantly, I want to thank my beautiful wife, Sutton, for allowing me to serve as your chairman of the Chamber. She's already been through a lot of solo dinners and bedtimes, and she knows she's in for a lot more this year. Her strength allows me to pursue my passion for making Wilmington a better place, and we all owe her our thanks. I told her I was going to embarrass her up here. I'm an architect, and I get the privilege to design things that honor our clients for generations. We tend to have a long view because we have to live with our things forever. If we make a mistake, we have to drive past it every day. Our father passed away last year, and he used to say that he did not mind seeing one of his buildings torn down because that showed progress, as long as what came next was better, as long as it atoned for the loss. That is our responsibility in this room. We must build upon the foundations of the past and make them better. We have that opportunity and we have that responsibility. I do not take that lightly, and I am deeply honored to serve as your chamber chairman this year. Let's go do great things. Thank you. It is my pleasure at this time to introduce Paul Newton, State President of Duke Energy, who will introduce our keynote speaker. Paul.
So it is my great honor and privilege to briefly introduce to you our CEO, Lynn Good. I am very proud to call Lynn Good my CEO, and I share that pride with some 28,000 employees at Duke Energy. I got to know Lynn back in 2006 when our company merged with Ohio-based Synergy. By 2009, Lynn was named the company's CFO, and in 2013, a unanimous decision of our board was to name Lynn President and Chief Executive Officer of Duke Energy. I am so proud of her for so many things, but the thing that I admire most about Lynn is her work-life balance. She is 100% dedicated to her church, 100% dedicated to her family, and 100% dedicated to Duke Energy. And that means good things for you as our customers. So please join me in welcoming Lynn Good.
So thank you. I have to adjust. I don't share the height of some of our previous speakers. But I'm so delighted to be here, and I've been looking forward to the chance to come to Wilmington for some time. As I shared with some of my colleagues this morning, I've been to Wilmington a number of times, but I'm drawn to the Brunswick Nuclear Station, and I'm also drawn to the Sutton Combined Cycle Plant. So I've really enjoyed the opportunity to see the downtown area and some of the good work that is going on. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. You know, we've been in this community for many years, and today about 1,300 Duke colleagues call Wilmington home. And in addition to these important assets that I referenced, we've also been a part of this community, supporting economic development and supporting so much of what you do. The start, I guess, was a company called Tidewater Power Company, and then we were Carolina Power and Light, and then we were Progress Energy, and then we were Duke Energy, and are Duke Energy today. But that demonstrates the long history that we all have together. And I understand that this chamber has actually been here for over 100 years as well. By my math, and I'm the only one who would do this probably, about a dozen years before the light bulb was invented, and 20 years before you had electric service in downtown Wilmington. So an opportunity to make a huge impact on this region, and we're really delighted to be a part of it. The theme of your conference is Leading in a New Light, and as a member of the power company, I love that theme. Because producing light is something that we take great pride and responsibility in, and it has really been a life changer for so many of us. But leading in a new light really gives us a broader picture, because what it talks about is fresh perspective. And I really enjoyed Chris's comments about moving forward and building toward the future and caring a lot about the way a region looks many years from now, because the vision that you create has an opportunity to move this community in this region for a very long time. And in the power business, because we also have been here for 100 years and hope to be here for 100 years more, that fresh perspective about moving forward means so much to Duke Energy as well. So what I wanted to share with you is how we're thinking about fresh perspectives, how we're thinking about moving forward, how we're thinking about leading with a new light in all of the work that we do. And I wanted to touch on three things. I wanted to talk about safety and environment and how we have a new perspective and we're moving forward on that very important part of our responsibility. I also wanted to talk about customer expectations, and it was my pleasure this morning to spend some time with some of our most important customers in this region. And then finally, I wanted to talk about how we have a fresh perspective and are moving forward with all of the technological change and innovation that's impacting our industry, and I know impacting yours as well. So again, because I'm counting and maybe you're not, in the area of fresh perspective on safety and environment, it was 1 year ago and 1 day ago that the Dan River spill happened in Eden, North Carolina, February 2nd, 2014. And that event, as well as the rest of 2014 and all of the response to that event, has had a profound impact on our company and has given us an opportunity to demonstrate our commitment to do the right thing for North Carolina and all of the communities that we serve. We have taken this opportunity to have a fresh perspective on how we can continue to raise our standards of operation and raise them in a way that we can be proud of for generations. We're working on smart, sustainable, long-term solutions. We're drawing on experts not only within our company but outside of our industry. We've put together a group of academics and professional engineers to really advise us on this scientific issue so that we can get to the solutions that make the most sense. And as I thought about how to convey what it means to bring a fresh perspective to adversity, which I know all of us have had at various points in our career, I thought about the picture that I faced during the first week in February in 2014 when I arrived at the site, and the scale of the operation. People working 24 hours a day, cranes and pumps and contractors everywhere. And the vice president responsible for our fossil generation greeted me before I even got out of the car. And he said to me, "Lynn, I'm sorry, and we will fix this." And that's really been the heart of Duke throughout this whole event, is to do the right thing and move forward in a way that fixes this and fixes it for North Carolina in a way that we can be proud of. You know, I found a quote by Lou Holtz, who I know from the Midwest, who was a coach at Notre Dame, but he's also had a history here in the Carolinas. And he has a quote that says, "Life is 10% about what happens and 90% about how you respond to it." And that response has been the center of our commitment throughout 2014. Commitment not only in terms of engineering and building smart and sustainable solutions, but also commitment. We put our foundation to work and came up with a $10 million water fund committed to this region and all of the waterways that are impacted by our operations. And we're proud that the City of Wilmington, UNC Wilmington, and also the North Carolina Coastal Land Trust received seed grants from this fund in order to demonstrate our ongoing commitment to this community. So we have a fresh perspective, and we're moving forward in safety and environment and hope to demonstrate that over a very long term here in North Carolina. Let me also talk about customer expectations. I'm sure this resonates with all of you because customers are changing, their expectations are changing. And in a year and a period when every generation sets new expectations for all of us, we're experiencing that at the power company. Every generation has new things that they want, and they certainly want to communicate and work with us in a very different way. For many years, we only heard from customers when there was an outage or maybe a billing issue. But now, with a group that carries their iPhone and wants to talk to us frequently about lots of things, we've learned that a fresh perspective on communication and outreach to customers is extraordinarily important. Some of our research would say that a customer who is communicated to, who has an outage that's actually longer than another customer, is more satisfied than a customer with a shorter outage that doesn't hear as much from Duke Energy. And so I put this to work one day in my home when I had an outage. I thought I'll call Duke and see how they're keeping me informed about when my outage is going to be over. And I kept sort of an hour-by-hour log. I thought that might be helpful to the leadership team at Duke to see how we're doing, and learned a lot about how we appear to customers. And I'm committed to tell you that we're going to continue to have a fresh perspective on customer expectations so that we can continue to move forward. But I also want to say to you that some expectations from our customers never change, and that's reliability. And we had a very good discussion about that this morning with a number of industrial customers. I think the Corning operation among one of them, with the very advanced technology and sensitive equipment that they work with, they can't afford an upset in power delivery for any period of time, even if it's a second. And so meeting customer expectations with investments around ensuring reliability will also never change. And as you continue to advance manufacturing and your expectations, we intend to advance with you, bringing a fresh perspective toward reliability. And then the final point that I would make is our business, just like yours, is also being impacted heavily by new technologies. There's a lot being written about the evolution of the way power is generated in this country, but that evolution, I would say to you, has been going on for many years. Over the last 5 years, we have retired half of our coal plants in North Carolina, and we've built a lot of natural gas capacity. We also just this year announced $500 million of investment in solar energy as we continue to find ways to put that very important renewable energy to work. The recent announcement of the Atlantic Coast Pipeline to bring natural gas from the Marcellus and Utica region into North Carolina is all intended to bring forward infrastructure in a way that'll underpin this region, the generation of power, economic development, and industry for many, many years. The acquisition of the assets from the Eastern Power Agency is also an important acquisition for us as we face a world where carbon-free generation is so important, and we get low-cost nuclear to bring into that mix. So we are innovating and changing, bringing in new technologies in a way that we believe will move us forward and hopefully move the regions that we serve forward as well. But we also understand that affordability has to be a part of that innovation. And today, our prices or rates are 20% below national average. We operate 3 of the top 10 most efficient coal plants in the United States, and we are committed every day to bring the lowest cost solution that we can possibly bring, because we understand that we can be a driver of economic development. And I'm always so pleased to hear what a priority economic development is for the state of North Carolina, because ultimately, that economic development will sustain us and allow us to move forward. And we really look forward to opportunities to partner with you to continue to drive economic development and recognize that low prices and low rates are a part of that. We also continue to support organizations like the Wilmington Area Rebuilding Ministry in order for us also to be mindful of low and fixed income residents who are impacted so heavily by a challenged economy. And we'll continue to support that as we innovate and focus on affordability. So at Duke, we're a long service business, long dated. We hope to be here for many decades, and we also are focused on having a fresh perspective and moving forward and partnering with all of you. And we look forward to the opportunity to work with you hand in hand in this region to make it the very best it can be. And I think about the future with great confidence because I'm joined by 28,000 people who have a heart for this region and a heart for this company and a heart for delivering service 24 hours a day. But I also come forward with great humility because there are about 20 million people who count on Duke Energy every day to supply power every minute in a way that you can count on. And we're human beings. We don't always get it perfectly right, but we are committed to getting it right and making it right so that we can continue to underpin the communities that we serve and the customers who count on us every day. So I wish you the very best in 2015. All the priorities that have been laid out for you, they sound like a lot to get to work to and also to be excited about. And we look forward to being your partner as you move forward the Wilmington area. So thanks so much for being here. It's been a pleasure to spend the time with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lynn, and thank you for those enlightening remarks and for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us here today. That was really great. Duke Energy has been a great corporate partner with the Chamber. We look forward to continuing that relationship for many years to come. And we're especially thankful for Duke Energy's efforts in giving back to the community and the ways in which you support economic development. Thank you again. I think let's give her another round of applause. Thank you so much. This is a perfect segue into the next part of our program. And for that, I'm going to turn the reins over to John Gieb, the Director of Economic Development for Duke Energy. John?
Thank you, Chris. Good afternoon, Wilmington. Like Chris said, my name is John Gieb. I stand between you and the door. We're going to put a bow on this event. I need 5 minutes to do that, and I hope you'll bear with me for something that is not only fun, but is important as well. I'm here today to recognize the winner of the Duke Energy LEAD Award, LEAD spelled L-E-A-D, standing for Leadership in Economic Advancement and Development. The award was created to recognize a deserving business leader in the community who has spent extraordinary time, effort, and talent preparing the community for job growth and capital investment in a competitive economic development climate. This year's recipient is a community leader who employs inclusion as his mindset, integrity as his strength, and collaboration as his practice. He epitomizes leadership in all its qualities at all levels within the community. Rare is the citizen economic developer that, after giving so effectively, chooses to eschew the spotlight and allow others to take the credit. He derives his reward instead from the simple knowing that members of his community will now have a job where before there wasn't one, that the place he leaves behind when he is done is better than the one he discovered when he arrived. Among his accomplishments, he is a past president of the Wilmington Chamber of Commerce, where he has led an effort to revise the county's zoning ordinance to better align with the competitive business climate of the southeastern United States. He was selected by local elected officials to serve on the Garner Committee, a group tasked with review of economic development recommendations put forth by the recognized economic development strategist, Jay Garner, and creating an action plan based on those recommendations, which is no mean feat given the varied needs and desires of a community like Wilmington. He has chaired the Cape Fear Future Initiative, the Chamber's flagship initiative, whose mission is to further develop the region's workforce to promote economic development and ensure continued prosperity for the region. He serves on the Board of Trustees for the University of North Carolina at Wilmington, helping to shape the direction of this distinguished institution, which plays such a key role in the economic vitality of this region. He has served on numerous boards, committees, and initiatives in our community, all geared toward making southeastern North Carolina a stronger, more vibrant, and thriving region. And one last thing, he's a nice guy. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2015 recipient of the Duke Energy Leadership in Economic Advancement and Development Award is Mr. Hal Kitchen.
Closer to the front. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, John, and congratulations, Hal. Hal is a great friend and someone that I look up to immensely, and he's taught me an awful lot. As I think he has any of us in this room who've gotten to know Hal or lived with him for the last several years. He's probably the hardest working chamber board member I've ever seen, so that recognition is certainly well justified. So congratulations again. I am pleased that my first act as chairman of the chamber is to mispronounce the speaker's name. So, John, I apologize for that.
My mom gets it wrong.
Okay, good. Thank you, John Geib. All right. And again, congratulations, Hal. When I look back at the more than 160-year history of this organization, of the chamber, and the people that held the position before me, I'm proud to serve. By the way, did you know that the first act of the chamber, it was formed to get the river dredged and deepened to 12 feet. You know, we're at 42 and counting now, I believe, so it's pretty amazing. We've come a long way. I invite any of you who are not already involved with the chamber to please get involved. Just reach out to Connie and her staff. They'd be happy to serve. And I want to take, before we adjourn, take just a minute to thank Connie and the staff again for doing a great job all year long, and especially putting this event together today. Thank you. So now what you've all been waiting for, I get to use this gavel, and the meeting stands adjourned.